Welcome to the Out on a Limb podcast. We are all interconnected to a greater web of consciousness. Our aim is to open your mind to a new world through having open-minded discussions about what we perceive our reality to be.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out on a Limb podcast with your hosts Samantha and Allison and Will. And as you can see, we have a new set. We've been looking for this half round table and we found one and it's beautiful, but you'll notice we're trying to get used to it. This will be the first episode that you will see with it.
Yes.
You might see some other episodes though that we taped earlier that are going to air in December that have the old set. So bear with us as we kind of grow and change. And we're not sure if this set will grow and change with us because this table's small.
Well, you got to figure out where, like when we lean in and go,
Right. We have
like
to
you're
figure out
like,
our space.
Or that, or else we're all hitting our foreheads,
Or we're kicking our feet together under the table.
and we can't hide our phones and our lipstick
Right.
and stuff. And
So
we're
it's-
figuring it out.
It's taking a minute to get used to our surroundings and to know how to move our bodies
We're
relative
adjusting.
to the table and the mics.
We're adjusting.
Yeah. We also wanted to take a moment to let you know that we have our Black Friday specials running.
Oh, yes.
Ours are running for Black Friday all the way through the end of November, and yours are running
Through the end of November.
also.
Oh,
Yeah.
All the deets are down below, but essentially you can get the 12-week origin story class that we're teaching starting in January.
Yep.
For the early bird pricing that we were offering. So $299 instead of $349 through the end of November. We're going to start that in January. It is quite an intimate deep dive into all things galactic.
Yep.
So if you're interested in that, take advantage of this because it only comes around once a year. And we're not even sure that we will do anything after the second
my gosh.
annual.
We'll see.
But the thing
Yeah,
is,
we'll
it's
see.
like a deep dive into each galactic race.
Right.
Like it is, and it explains so much about who we are as beings here. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to do it? Obviously, I've done it. It was totally worth
Right.
it.
And we just had a really interesting interview with a friend of ours, Carol Cottrell, and you'll see her episode coming up next week. And even she said she's starting to get pinged a lot more from the galactics. Friends are seeing them out of the blue unexpectedly, or with our CE5 protocol that we did in the backyard a couple of weeks ago at a glamping event that we had. We're seeing artifact type things on it's actually light language, on our photos that are being produced by the galactics. In other words, they want to make themselves known.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is a really good time to get in relationship with them and to understand how they're working with you, how you can work with them, and your place, humanity's place in the big galactic family.
Because it's happening.
And then you have your Black Friday sale on your tarot class and other things.
Yeah, it's each day is a different deal, and it's only available for that day. It's just kind of fun to do it that way. But they're, seriously, really, really good deals. There's one of them that I'm going to mention that is the tri-dimensional healing thing that I do, and this is for animals. And then you get a free $95 value, a free 30-minute reading with me to go over the information. So I deliver it as a report. But anyway, it's always fun to do. Mainly I've done it on horses more than any other animal, which I find kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
But the Zen Tarot will be on there as well. And I think I'm doing that one on Thanksgiving Day because it's only people who are really interested, that are going to see the special.
Yeah.
If you get tired of speaking to your family
Yeah, check out
about things that are not woo-woo,
Yeah.
about sports, get online and check out her deals, right? But today we want to do our oracle card reading for December. We're a few days early. This will air a few days early, but it'll get you ready for December.
Yep.
And we'll tell you what's in the cards.
Will be now.
How to navigate, or the guides will through us, how to navigate, not October, hello, how to navigate December.
What month are you in?
We're now in November.
No, you. I know what month I'm
We're
in.
in November.
We're in
I'm right there with you. And what you can do to stay chill and stay peaceful and stay in your heart space during the holiday season, right?
Yes.
All right. So the first one will be what? General? We're going to do a general question about what to expect or what to think about, right?
Okay.
What's coming for December and what to think about.
So it's funny
So
because I feel
we
like I'm
all
going to
choose our
smack this stuff.
Choose our favorite decks. Soul's Journey by James Van Praagh, my go-to deck.
I'll put mine out there like that.
Oh, look at him,
at you.
so official.
Look at me.
This is our third time doing this, so we're finally figuring it out.
Well, I wouldn't say we figured it out, but
Yeah,
we're pretty close.
We're trying.
We're getting there. Let me move that there. And that
Logistical.
You know,
Logistical stuff.
I watch card readers on TikTok, and they're just shuffling and they're doing all these things with the big.
Have you noticed
How?
that they shuffle really fast and then they'll let a card fly out and then they'll grab that
Well,
card?
I
That's
get
what they
that, but
use.
these cards are so fresh and so new that they all stick together.
Yeah, you
They-
can't quite.
Right.
Which ones?
All of them.
So
We don't
for
use them
me,
enough?
I've done something to my hand. If anyone's fascinated, you can look up de Quervain's tenosynovitis or whatever. But it's
Sounds complicated.
Very hard for me to do this. And I was going to run this really cool tarot special where I was going to do like these very specific spreads that would have to do with different aspects of relationships or, jobs or whatever. Like they're very, very specific. And then I realized I can
You can't
barely
shuffle.
shuffle because of this. Like I have to open up the scissors first and then this can cut, but I can't open the scissors. Like
And
it's,
cut.
Wow.
yeah, it's real pain in the butt. So,
You're dealing with that. I'm dealing
That's
with
fun.
I'm dealing with a broken finger.
ooh,
It's
Wait,
not
show
broken.
people that.
It's
Like-
not quite broken.
This my ring finger on my left hand. I dislocated the first digit, and well,
You realize like a couple of podcasts ago, it was about your tooth.
hey, I got
Issue, and
I
now
got
it's your
99 problems,
finger.
people. Come on.
Now it's your finger issue. Yes, you do.
galactic beans aren't one of them. Okay, so I know these are clumped up, but I know I also won't grab the one that's not the wrong one, but the one that's not right.
So why
for.
don't you go first, Samantha, and
We really got to work with these cards.
I know. De-stick them somehow. I don't
yeah.
know.
I know the card I want is in this clump.
These two cards popped out, so I'm going to use those two. I'm going to
Haven't
actually
been
do.
played with enough.
Well, and these
No.
have never been read,
Oh.
probably because they're clumped.
Wow.
Right. They're all staticky and whatever.
Okay,
You
so this is the one. So what are we reading about?
The general energies of December. What do we need to be aware of?
And are we holding the cards up, or are you going to put them up after?
Yeah, I'll put them up after. You don't have to hold
You
them.
have been putting them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But just
So
logistically, don't stick it back in the pile.
Logistically, I won't.
Good.
which deck is this?
This is The Universe Has Your Back, which is by Gabrielle Bernstein. Gabrielle.
Gabby Bernstein? Or yeah.
I really, really like this one. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. And that is a huge one I know for me right now. And I'm going to say that for a lot of people who have been released from that whole whatever, the Pluto transit thing, I think it's really like liberating for them. But the universe is always supporting us. We're always being guided towards, like, I have people say, am I on my path? Or, I just want to make sure I'm on my path. And it's like, you can't ever be off your path. Your path is your path. There you go.
Right.
So but it is listening to those nudges. You can make it harder for yourself or not, but you always are being guided. I'm going to hold.
And there's a beautiful
it's
dragonfly
really
on there,
cool. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I'm just like so grooving on that dragonfly. That is awesome. Anyway, that's what I
Okay,
got. That's all
good.
I have to say.
So James Van Praagh, Soul's Journey,
Don't do that.
guilt.
Ooh.
Guilt.
Ooh.
What you going to do with that one, Allison?
Good question. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. Well, there you go.
That's huge for right now, isn't it?
It's 2024. It's time to let go. It's time to let go and trust and surrender. Hanging on to the baggage, to that old baggage and guilt, the shame, remorse, any of those types of feelings that are dragging you down. You can't take that with you. And with the first wave of awakening coming around the time of the new year, the energy is going to be such that it'll be supportive for you to let go of that. So if you were afraid of letting that go before, you're being held and supported. So find perhaps a mentor or a teacher or a friend, somebody who can hold space for you while you let it out. And that may come with a lot of emotional release. And I know if you're like me, I don't like to do that. I don't like to be vulnerable and cry. But make space, make time for yourself. You have a holiday, you probably have time off. Take time to do some inner work to release not only the guilt of whatever you're holding on to, but any other negative emotions that aren't serving you any longer. Let it go. You have the time to do so, and the universe is supporting you. The universe has your back. I think this is what it's telling us for December, moving into the new year. So when we talk about New Year's resolutions, for example, you got to let that go before you have room to start something new.
I like that.
So it's time.
Yeah.
I think, so this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with like what's going on in our political arena or out in the world. It's more about your personal introspective journey so that you can be in a position starting in January to, I guess, to navigate what's coming and have the resources, the personal resources within to be able to navigate that journey well and to rise to the top and start to work productively in your own mission, whatever that is. But you can't do that 100% when you're hanging on to this type of stuff.
Yeah. That only gets in your way.
Right.
Yep. I really love that. And I'm sorry that I started to laugh. It just
Me.
playing around with these chairs.
Trying to get him comfortable.
Yeah.
right.
Like, look, now he's the commander of all
Because it's actually easier to keep
overseas.
my hands back here than it is on the table. So
Well, that was, so.
Sorry.
I thought you were laughing at our
we're still
card.
logistically figuring this out.
Because not all the cards in here, just like in the tarot decks, not all the cards are happy-go-lucky cards. Some of them have heavy stuff, right? And there's like one that's, I don't know if it's death per se, but it's something like that. And I remember when I first got those cards being afraid to pull that one. Like I'd pull one a day just to tell me what I needed to know. And I was I had to
Would you pull it
come
and
to
stick it back in the
No,
deck
but I
and
had to
then-
come to grips with why am I afraid of pulling that card? If I am pulling it, it's for a reason, right? And so, yeah. At any rate,
Well, it's
we
like when people see the death card, they tend to go,
Yeah.
oh my God, who's dying? I'm dying. What's going on?
Right.
But yeah, it's that one I just think is so huge. Whenever you meet someone who is carrying around, I mean, that is a lot of baggage to carry around the guilt because I was going to say it's not affecting anyone else around you, but it is affecting them. But most of all, it's hampering your evolution. So it's just,
Right. Guilt is very low vibrational.
So as I was shuffling mine, these two actually, we talked about falling out. These two slid out. So I'm not sure how to say that. How would you
Let me
say
see. Oh gosh, her name?
Yeah.
Radha, maybe?
Radha?
Yeah.
Radha? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll go with Radha. So I have two cards, Radha and Hope.
or you could say rad ha.
I
But
could.
I think it's rad.
But one is Soul Flame and the other one is Love and Acceptance. I don't know why my brain froze on that. So Soul Flame reads, rediscover a lost part of yourself, experience relationship harmony and healing. I think it kind of goes in line with what what you were just talking about. And then the Hope card, Love and Acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth. Choose loving thoughts. So, as we're talking about going into the end of the year here and even into the beginning of the year, it's letting go of one aspect of self. This one, it's letting go of those pieces, those bits of yourself that that you're struggling to accept, that you're feeling guilty about.
That's what I was thinking.
Right. You're all those things that kind of been sticking you in the mud for the better part of this year. it's time to release those. It's time to let go of those. And then it's to refill it with hope. I mean, you know, we're closing one cycle of time and opening another, you know, and there's always hope when there's a new cycle of time. So we're entering into that new cycle. So, you know, to look at this, it really is appropriate that 2 cards fell out, and they're both, you know, one is the old cycle, one is the new cycle. It's looking at ourselves from a perspective of, you know, where can I grow and what is holding me back, but not feeling guilty about those things that are holding you back and the things that are sticking in the mud. Yeah, and right, trust the direction of the universe, right? Exactly, and it's because there's a reason why you've been going through this during this, we'll call it season, you know, the things you've been going through. It's because, you know, you're going to be opening up a new cycle of time, a new experience for self, a new perspective of self going into the new year. So this is all preparation for the new year. And, you know, to be in a place of hope, love, and acceptance of self. And I'm really reading these cards as for, you know, self, not as a, you know, individually, yes, but, you know, it's the whole aspect of self in general. The divine worth, and I think that's so important. The divine worth, it isn't, you know, it isn't what you've accumulated in your life. It isn't what, you know, it isn't the, you know, $1 million paychecks. It isn't but what's your self-worth? When you look at yourself in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see that person that stands there in front of you, or do you see your divine, you know, your divine essence, your divine perspective? And if you see your divine perspective, then you understand your divine worth in this world, and you understand that there's much more to this life than just, you know, the muggle world that we operate in, right? There is more to it. So it's really coming into understanding, and this, you know, this is a, you know, relationship of harmony and healing, along with the, you know, choosing loving thoughts. This whole cycle of being in our own thoughts for a moment. That's a very uncomfortable place, and letting that reflect back upon ourselves to understand that there is change ahead, and we have to trust the direction that we're being pushed in. Many of us are feeling nudges. Many of us are feeling a push, but we're reluctant to do that. And I'll pull, you know, your card, Allison, with guilt, because we're feeling guilty of something that has happened in the past, maybe even in this past year, that you're not feeling worthy enough that you can move in the direction the universe wants to push you. So you're holding your own self back. You're not looking at your divine, you know, your divine worth, your divine perspective. You're looking at yourself from your humanness. Well, let all that go, let all that slide away, and trust the universe. It's pushing you in a much greater direction than you can even comprehend or perceive. So
Exactly. And you mentioned hope a couple of times, and you know, you might want to elaborate on this about the transit or whatever that is that's affecting a couple of the signs. But we've been feeling a great deal of hope that's coming out of nowhere, Will and I, for the past couple of weeks.
Hope, yeah.
Optimism, hope.
Creation, yeah. Creativity.
Yeah, this really fun place of being excited to create. We've been working on a course and just excited to start things new and having abundance of energy in that, that the potential and the possibilities are there.
Yeah.
Like we're in this big field of potentiality. And I don't know where that's coming from. It's so interesting. I don't really follow astrology much. I don't know if there's anything affecting my sign in general, but I really think that's just where Earth is moving in terms of the energy streams and being empowered. And that's why I say we're all in this cocoon of support right now for our own personal growth and evolution. And if you want to start creating, it's there for you. Well, you were just saying this too personally in terms of Aries or something, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's the cardinal signs, but I can't remember. I guess Capricorn is a cardinal sign. I can't remember, but it's Aries, Libra, Cancer, which is my family, except for Pisces. Brody's Pisces. He had to go off and be different.
Who is it?
Brody's Pisces.
Oh, okay. Your son?
But anyway, it's and I'm only echoing what's been put out there by so many astrologers. I am not an astrologist, but just that something about the Pluto transit, how it's gone through, the cardinals affected the cardinal signs, and how since 2008 we've gone through 16 years of really intense growth. I mean, it's intense sludge.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because everyone that I've been talking to, they're like, oh, I remember. And 2008 was also when the market, they had the problem with the mortgages and all that.
Right.
So yes, that affected all of us. But I know specifically, and like I said, everybody's got their story. But for myself and my daughter, we kind of went down a rabbit hole, and life for me, it's taken me years and years to try to pull out of it and recover. It just, and I'm sitting here editing as I go going, can I say that? No, maybe I better not.
Right.
But it's just like, I'm only just now finding my footing again. And I've spent the past, I think 2 years really learning about, what it means to be abundant, meaning you have the things that you need and, but I could try as hard as I wanted to try or not, and nothing would happen. And now all of a sudden it's like you were saying that I couldn't believe when y'all said that. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. 'Cause it is this upwelling of just this potentiality, this stuff coming. And it's like, I feel like I'm on the crest of a wave, but I don't feel like this wave is going to break. For people who are cardinal signs, they're
point.
saying it's going to go for the next 20 years. And so I've talked to a couple of people who are like, yes, I'll be an old lady and it won't matter then, it's going to be the best years of my life and stuff. But it's pretty cool. But the other thing I think is really cool about all of it is how much a nod to the astrologers and hanging in there and for so long, because it's been kind of the ignored thing, or whatever. But now all of a sudden, all over the internet, everybody's paying attention because we're finally moving from that headspace where we know it all and we've got to force things to happen to that heart space. And even though and all of the things in astrology, they point to very specific things, which makes me go, oh, that's headspace, but it's not. It's like seeing, it's not just believing, it's seeing, feeling, you can look at it and then
And
say
know it.
It's, there it's happening, So it's really cool stuff. And I just want to say my condolences for those signs that are, starting to go into the crap, because I realize it went out of my area and into someone else's.
But it's got to go somewhere else, right?
But it's not mine. And you're welcome to come have an appointment with me and I can tell you how I got through it.
That's so funny. I was telling this group I was online with, we had a little Zoom call and they were mostly from the UK or whatever. And a lot of them come from, it's not Catholic, but the Episcopal type of religion where they still do exorcisms and things like that.
Ooh.
And they work in that ministry. What did they call it? Deliverance ministry or something like that, I think. So I was telling them about the times that that we've had to take and remove entities or attachments or whatever, and that I usually call Archangel Michael and take him or whatever. And this one woman asked me, she goes, well, have you ever met pure evil? I said, no, I have not. Or have you ever had entities or energies that didn't want to go? And I said, yeah, I've argued with some a little bit. And I call in Archangel Michael and I'm like, sorry, but you have to go. And, we can't make them go to the light, but you can't be on my client any longer. And so I let Archangel Michael deal with it. But it's funny. It's like, you can't stay here. I don't know where you're going or what's going to happen, but you can't stay here. Yeah. So
you're done.
Your lease is up. You got to go.
So the energy, we don't know where it's going, but it ain't with you any longer, right?
Yeah.
No, and I need a freaking break. I couldn't have asked for it anytime soon. But it's weird because it is this sense of extreme hope, not out of desperation, but it's just the sun is shining behind you and lifting you up. You're in an air balloon. It's very euphoric. And
but it's almost, for me, it's a couple weeks ago, I mentioned to you that it felt like Christmas Eve, right? That's what it felt like.
That's how
that anticipation of what's to come. Tomorrow's going to bring something, right? And so I've been in that, and it really has been interesting where I just have all this energy to really, like, I don't know, step up and take control and do certain things. And like, I mean, I revamped my entire office, moved it all around. I got a giant 4x8 whiteboard that I put up on the wall. And, I mean, I just, so I love whiteboards. I have to have a whiteboard.
I was about to say, what you going to do with the whiteboard?
That's where
what am I not going to do
right,
with it?
Exactly. That's probably better. But it is that. But then there's that moment in me that goes, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want it to go away. You know, right?
Right?
I don't, right?
That's what you were just saying.
I don't want to say anything because I'm going to jinx it. It's going to go away, and then I'm going to be back in the shit again. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what it feels like. And it's just, can I really trust this feeling?
Right.
Is this really going to happen now? But when have you really felt, I mean, like maybe there've been little spots, but when have you really felt this kind of overwhelming?
I have it really in a long time. I
been a while.
can say that I haven't felt it. I mean, I've not felt it.
So
like
it makes
this.
me wonder how much of it's the upcoming energies with the ascension stuff and all of that. Like,
Right.
like, we can point to certain things and go, I think it's this, I think it's this, but I think it's a lot of things that, we can't necessarily define.
And perhaps just the energy affecting each of us individually, because we're all on our own separate timeline, and we're going to have these different periods and emotions at different times.
Yeah.
And we always tease each other. We're like, as long as we're not both breaking down at the same time, then we're okay.
Yeah.
One of us needs to be
Right,
stable.
yeah. One of us
Someone has to be the adult.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, no. It's been interesting because we've. Since this whole thing has taken on, I've added another aspect to the website. Some of you may have seen it that have gone to Palm and Lotus. It isn't active yet, but it is on the menu bar. It is Palm and Lotus Academy. So we're going to be starting Palm and Lotus Academy in the spring.
Ooh.
I've got my plugins all set to create.
We have a couple of courses.
Yeah, create courses that are going to be completely interactive, and
think-
you can. Nope, there you go.
Did I
You gotta
put it upside down?
Yeah, you got it
Yeah.
upside down. The table sees it. The table knows which one you're pulling from.
Well,
Here we go.
I was doing that
Yeah.
for the intuitive people
Oh,
out
there
there
you
that were
go.
going,
Exactly.
I know exactly what deck that is.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've read so much stuff about, our course is dead and all this kind of stuff. And it is tricky to do courses for sure. But,
Sure.
But it's more effective to reach a group of people and to have that common experience.
Yeah.
It's so
classmates to
intimate
go-
and bonding for the people that are in it. It's so rewarding, and every class is different because everybody brings their own dynamic into the.
And a lot of these are going to be
Into the
self-paced. These are going to be, you sign up and you go at it self-paced and, learn and
But
whatever.
I wanted to. I'm sorry. Did you have more?
Well, what I
Didn't
was going to
interrupt
say
you.
is
Sorry.
what's the one that Patricia uses? We've had her on the podcast.
Oh,
but
Udemy.
Udemy.
I think it's Udemy.
Or
but I
Udemy,
like
yeah,
Udemy better. But I think
whatever it might be. That's a great, online platform to create your course because it puts you into a stream, and I'll say marketing wise, of tens of thousands, if not millions of people, and they can just sign up for your course, and you can have them at very low cost and all of that. But there are some limitations to it.
the big one is that they take a lot of your profit.
Right.
Because they take a big cut for doing all that marketing and hosting.
Now, we won't have the ability to, put it out for mass marketing, but that's fine. But it's going to be there, and if somebody wants to sign up, and it'll be, cost effective to just.
Perpetuity, as they say.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, maybe our friend Suzanne will be able to tell us in the comments, but I thought it was interesting that wherever Pluto was before was the 16 years, right? It was 16 years, and now it's going to be 20. So I always thought that those transits were the same length of time each time, every 20 years or something like that.
Apparently not.
So I thought that was a little
Sometimes
interesting.
it wiggles around, or I don't know, because Pluto has so many days in the year, but I think as it's doing its thing, there's other things that are moving that.
Sure.
So it has to line up or something.
So if you're into astrology, tell me why. I guess all of those transits are not
Teach us all,
the same
explain.
in length.
And Suzanne, if you want to put in the comments and explain it to
Now,
us, it would be lovely.
yeah, I mean,
Suzanne's been doing a lot of her own videos, so she may not be watching ours regularly as she used to, and she's creating that beautiful
astrology.
program of her own, right?
Okay. So starting off on the other side now.
No, you can go.
Oh my gosh.
Come circle back. We're circling back.
Whoa.
I hate
Circling
that.
back to
I
you.
know,
I know,
please,
right?
please
We'll
don't.
circle back to that. Okay.
I love the heart on that.
So this is going to be for what? This is for somebody in the crowd?
These are for individual. One or many of you, personal
It's going to
reading.
resonate with someone.
Yeah.
Didn't we do this one before?
I don't know.
Okay.
But if so, we needed it again.
I like this. So it's vibe check. And I'm seeing it two different ways. One is actually what's coming through is that there is this feeling going on of everything sucks and it's really awful and there's no telling what's going to happen. And, you know, all the, you know, like whoever this is going out to, they're seeing a lot of negativity in the world and they're getting really entrenched by that. And they're literally like, this is a tuning fork. And I know you had this one before, but it's a tuning fork going out and it's saying, you need to check your vibe because you're sitting there putting out all of this garbage. And if you stop, you'll realize, oh, wait, I have it pretty good. So it's like you're just being this conduit of all of this energy coming in that is very, very negatively charged, negatively based, and you're just spouting it back out again without realizing the effect that it's having on the people around you. And if you would just check in and say, okay, wait, how am I really feeling? I'm feeling really good. That's what people need to hear. They need to hear, I'm feeling really positive about the future. These people are saying this, but I'm feeling this. So it's like a disconnect between the two messages or the two feelings, or so it's the vibe that you're putting out there. So realize, that's kind of like they talk about, what is it, energetic hygiene, where you sit there and you're feeling really good, but you spout that stuff to other people and you leave other people feeling like crap, and you're not taking responsibility for it at all. Meanwhile, you walk away feeling all great,
Because you vented.
Yeah, it's generally the vent thing. So pay attention to that, recognize, create that bubble. If you got to do it, and we all need to vent, realize that you create that bubble that you're going to, and with the agreement of whoever's with you, that you're going to do this, you're going to spout this stuff out, you're going to get it out of your system, and then let that bubble collapse, let it mutate, let it transform, however you want to do it, so that it's no longer hanging on you, hanging on that person, or being a thought form in the space. That's really cool. My guides are giving me that. Oh, that was like really neat. I like that idea. And so you just transmute it and it's gone, and it harms no one, and it's being more energetically hygienic.
Yeah.
I love that, because I was just reading an article today about EQ, emotional IQ. And there were 4 pieces to that. I don't recall necessarily all of them, but one of them was being self-aware, because you can't be in charge of your emotions and responsible for yourself until you're aware of yourself and where your pitfalls are. And then being responsible for your emotions, responsible, like you just said, a responsible purveyor of your emotions, so that you can't just spew on everybody and expect that they're just going to take it, or that it'll be fine, and that you have the right to do that. And being also responsible in relationships. And, in the workplace, we can always kind of identify those people who don't have control over their emotions, and don't understand how to be in right relationship with people. Not good emotional hygiene, as you said, or whatever. So
Energetic hygiene, yeah.
energetic hygiene, right? Which emotion is energy in motion. I can hear Judy's voice in my head.
Right.
That's what it is. So when the energy runs through you and you just interpret it however which way you want and let it out, we can be more responsible with that, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see which animals are supporting us. Ooh, did we have this one before?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think I've seen that card before.
The dove. And the first thing I think of when I see dove is peace. And the word below it is serenity. Slow down, pause, and breathe. Because when you do that, that is where you're going to find your inner peace. You can't find that inner peace when things are going a mile a minute. You don't give yourself time to regroup and reflect. That's beautiful. Let me see if the dove has anything else that they want us to know. Talking about breath in the midst of turmoil. And we know, I mean, of course, this is coming from my left brain because we know that there is a lot of chaos and turmoil still around the pike, at least through January and probably a little bit beyond, for obvious reasons. No need to worry or fret about anything, again, because the universe has your back. You're in control with your guides and your higher self and tapping into the divinity within, then you can be in control. Not that we're ever in control, but I mean in control of your feelings and your emotions moving forward. You can be responsible.
I was about to say responsible.
In that emotional, in your emotional response with others. But I love this. This is a big, I think, harbinger of hope. And we talked about hope. There is hope on the horizon. It's right there. We just have to get through. It's like almost, I can see us doing a, what do they call those, ultra marathon, or where you're going over lots of rocky stuff, and all of those are like the person who's trying to do the app trail in 4 hours or however long 4 days, I guess. Something like that, not 4 hours,
Not
4 days.
4 days, but yeah.
Several days.
Yeah.
So we're right at the end of it. We're almost at the finish line, but it's the rockiest piece. It's the darkest before the dawn. But this tells me that the dawn is right around the corner. You know, for those of you who are coming from a religious aspect, they sent out, didn't they send out the dove to find the olive branch when Noah got in the ark and land was ahead? They were about to end their ordeal.
The same thing, you know, as far as sailors and stuff, if, you know, when you're out at sea for so long and one of the, as an observer, one of the first things, if you see a seabird, you know that
land is not far.
Land is close. Yeah. And that, you know, and then hope really wells up in the entire crew because you know that, you know, as long as you've been out in a desolate sea and it's been stormy and everything else, that shorebird or that seabird is telling you that, you know, hey, don't worry.
Exactly.
There's a safe harbor ahead.
So this is not only telling us what's right around the corner, which is peace, but also peace can be found within now by taking those deep breaths, going within, giving yourself downtime. Yep.
I like that.
All right.
So this is from the archetype cards.
I was worried that was going to go wrong.
I know. I was thinking that the entire time. I was like,
We're all stressed
It's
that
gonna
this is
fall.
gonna go
fall. It's gonna fall. And I'm gonna have to cut, and then I'm gonna have to
Getting
edit.
our bearings logistically here.
Right. So this is from the archetype cards.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one's interesting. So this is, if we're doing this for someone out there, the word up top is gossip.
Oh.
Right.
The gossip is the.
It's this person over here who was talking about the vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Venting.
Light attributes awaken consideration for the feelings of others, honoring trust. And then at the bottom it says shadow attribute. So you have the light attribute and then you have the shadow attribute, which thrives on the power of passing on private and secret information, betraying confidence. So we've got a bit of a struggle here between the light and the dark, or the light and the shadow. And, you know, it's for whoever out there that needs this, it's, you know, gossip itself, or, you know, this aspect of, you know, honoring trust or betraying confidence. You know, it's a struggle that we all go through. You know, because it is part of the human experience. Our ego is going to, you know, we're going to hear something of somebody, and, you know, do we say something to somebody else? Do we hold that into ourselves? What do we do with that information? And it becomes an internal struggle, you know, for many of us. But it's not about, you know, it's not about what should we do with it. It's about how do you honor those messages that you've gotten, whether they're good or bad. It doesn't, you're not dealing with, should you or shouldn't you. It's what are you going to do with that information? You can turn around and use your humanness in a gossipful way, but what good does that serve? What purpose does that serve other than to, cast energy out that's not warranted. But it is, what do you hold more sacred? Do you hold the confidence of someone, or do you hold the words of someone? It's again, it goes back to that reflection aspect of self. It's what do you see in the mirror when you're dealing with certain situations, when somebody's confided in you some information, and the next morning you wake up and you look in the mirror at yourself, and how do you feel? Do you feel like you need to say something to someone, or do you feel you're going to be in conflict if you don't say something, or do you just release that information out, release from it? And I think that's the best way to say it, is to release from it, not to hold on to it. You can be the end of the cycle for that information, because it might be that information has been going about its way through numbers of people, but you are there to be the one to release it, to separate it from the cycle or break the cycle. And so you may be struggling, somebody out there might be struggling with this aspect of a bunch of information from someone, about someone, and a part of you, which is the human ego, is going to want to say it to someone else because that's how you pass it along. That's how you get rid of it. Well, no, pass it along to the universe. Shed that from yourself. If it takes writing it down on a slip of paper and tearing it up and throwing it away, or burning it, or burying it in the ground, or whatever you want to do with it, but get that information out, but not in a way that it's going to be malicious, not in the way that it's going to be harmful, or in this case, betraying confidence of someone else. So it's releasing this cycle, or it's breaking the cycle of this information stream. And that's all gossip is just an information stream. And, it doesn't serve anyone to, pass along, oh God, I don't want to use that word, misinformation.
I think you have to use the word, because it's dancing around that.
Right. It's not.
Well, it's like telephone.
Yeah, it
When
doesn't
you were a
serve
kid
any
doing
good.
telephone, and the story gets more and more distorted, so you really don't know what's true and what's not true.
Right. I mean, so it's It is a difficult thing. If we're all faced with it. I mean, to say that that we're not, none of us have ever been faced with a aspect of gossip. I can tell you, I've gossiped about plenty of people. I mean, we all do it.
Yeah.
It's because at some level, at our human level, there's a little bit of excitement that goes with that, right?
Well, you suddenly, the one that has the knowledge, you're special.
You got the golden key of information, and it's not always a golden key.
Or even if it's not about special knowledge, it's about complaining to someone about someone, right? And it does, sometimes you just need to vent, or you're jealous, and we've all been there.
Yeah.
And so it's about reevaluating, going within to figure out why you feel the need to say something negative about somebody else, even if it's justified or true or whatever.
Right.
I'll tell this interesting story. I had a boss once, and I was in the inner administrative circle, and this boss started the meeting by saying something about one of the other people in this organization and the types of outfits that this person wore. And people were kind of chuckling or whatever. And I just sat there because I didn't think it was funny, but I wasn't trying to draw attention to myself. And this boss looked at me and said, "What's the matter, Allison? You don't think that's funny?"
You're not one of us.
And I blurted out before I even knew what I was saying. I said, "Well, it just makes me wonder what you say about me when I'm not here."
Oh.
but that was just the truth.
Yes.
And it just blurted out because sometimes I can't help myself. because you can leave now. And I left, and I was never invited back to those meetings, which was fine with me because I didn't really enjoy that boss. He was not a kind person.
And to allow the group to do that, to go there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, when you're the ringleader and
Yeah.
you're the one that's supposed to be in charge. Wow. I couldn't believe
Wow.
that I said that.
Well,
It was not a pleasant relationship with that boss after that either. When I tried to leave, he debated about, and I heard this from another person, that he was debating about whether to give me a good review or not, a good recommendation.
God.
I had not done anything wrong. I was
Well, you called him out in front of everybody.
a good employee, right?
Yeah.
But to debate about, and this tells you what kind of person he was, but to actually contemplate giving somebody a bad recommendation for no reason. Maybe he just wanted to get rid of me, so he thought, well, if I give her a bad recommendation,
but he had his reason. You called
but
him
for no
on
true
something.
reason. But for no true reason. I'm not a bad employee.
Yeah.
And so for him to say that I was a bad employee when that wasn't the case, I mean, lying on somebody, that
He just wanted you out of there.
it was rough. But the point is, when you say gossip or say things like that about people, it's reflecting on you.
yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
It's reflecting on you. Like when you sit there, if Samantha was telling me something bad about somebody, there is a piece in the back of my mind going, what does she say about me then? Or what does she say about other people? Or I can't trust her. Note to self, I can't trust her with my secret because
only
she's telling
say
me somebody else's
glowing
secret,
things
right?
about you.
But I mean, it does reflect on the person who's saying it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So there is, okay, this is really just trippy that we're talking about this right now because, okay, I just have stuff that comes up, and I get there's an algorithm and all that kind of stuff, but on YouTube, they're pushing the shorts a lot. And this one video comes up. I have not seen Ivanka Trump in I don't know how long. Like
Yeah.
she's just disappeared from the limelight. All of a sudden she shows up and it's just this clip from this interview where she's talking about, and I don't know the expression, I don't know the term, but there is a Jewish term that is specifically about saying something negative, something bad about someone, the idea of gossiping and all that kind of stuff. And so she was sharing that concept because her husband is Jewish, so
Right.
I'm assuming she's converted or maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, so it was interesting because she was talking about how she thought the concept was so beautiful, how they explained it. And so she's been teaching her kids, that it's not so much what they're saying about the other person, but how it makes them look ugly
Oh,
for
yeah.
saying that sort of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't rewind the time and do that with my own kids,
Right,
Like I
right.
wish I could.
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful. If anybody knows what that term is, it was, I guess it's a Judaic term. Is that the better? It's not a Jewish term. I don't know if you. But anyway, it was so cool how she expressed that, and then it came up again. The same concept came up again in something else, and I can't remember. It popped into my head while you were talking. So that's a big one lately.
obviously it is.
They're
It needed
trying to get
come
us
up.
to.
Well, I mean, if you kind of pull the lens out even further and just look at kind of where we've been for the last, I don't know, 6-8 months to, 3 years, there's been, I mean, you don't know what to trust as far as what somebody's saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it isn't just,
Stop passing it
person to
on.
person.
Yeah.
It's even global, and it's, this is why we keep saying that it's to, we just had the interview with Carol, and she said one of the things that she stopped doing a long time ago was stop watching the news, right? It's stop the infiltration of your own psyche of information that doesn't do you any good, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's the, like a computer, good in, good out, right?
Yep.
Good code in produces good application out. Well, it's, that's the same thing in our lives. the more we take in of trash, well, the more trash we're going to put out, you know, and you may not feel like you're putting out trash, but it's just going to be part of the cycle. So if you
Or
change
that you
the
have to
cycle,
cleanse out of your system.
right, or you got to, So you got to, you got to.
And this is not an indictment of anybody at
No,
all.
No,
no,
because
not
we
at
all-
all.
we all do.
it.
Oh
My God.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I spent, every day of my life, I had to have the news on. And we all grew up in that era that news had to be on.
And I don't even mean the news, but I'm
Yeah,
talking
just-
about gossiping.
Oh,
or,
gossiping
in
or whatever,
general.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because our ego sometimes gets out of check. And
We are human.
yeah.
30 years in the military, it's just a normal course of action. You just, you talk crap about somebody
Well,
all
it
the
is,
time.
and it is
You know?
it is a human currency.
Yeah.
Like there is a
Information.
Yeah, it's
There is a value to it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say there's a negative value because it's a value. People will pay you for it.
Yeah.
And if you'll stand behind it, but it's really a negative value.
When it's turned around on you and you understand really what it's doing. Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Wow, this was really enlightening. And I'm always shocked, even though I shouldn't be, how all the cards and the messages seem to all congeal.
Well, I was
to
gonna
one
say,
beautiful.
when you do a reading, so there's different placements. You have intentions like this spot and this spot and this spot. Like this spot's going to mean this. This is going to mean
Right,
this.
right.
So you have the intention of what each spot is. And so generally you'll read this. You might need a few clarification cards. You'll read this, maybe a few clarification cards. But what's really fun is when you just gather them all together and then read the whole message.
Yeah.
And that's, that is a typical occurrence within tarot, that's just like, and it happens here.
Right here,
And three
yeah.
different people picking the cards and it still
6
is
different
going
decks
to,
and yeah.
Right. So
And it all
I
paints
guess
it all paints one picture. Yeah.
such a coincidence, right?
do the
Things that make you go,
do the last push of self-reflection and self-healing before we turn into the new year, and know that hope is on the horizon. You can go within and find it. Breath work until that time comes, right?
Yep.
Well, it's been another pleasurable, fun romp through the cards with you. We'll do this again next month, and we're approaching the month of December. We have another couple of good episodes before the Christmas holiday. Please go ahead and hit that thumbs up while you're thinking about it. Hit the notification bell and share this video with friends and family so they know what's coming.
yeah.
And until next time, thank you for being with us for Out on a Limb podcast.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.